his mic. And then Paolo will have his real voice. Have you ever seen such? Okie dokie. I can almost kiss the stars when I see you smiling. Oh.
You are giving the, because she wears green, doesn't she?
Yeah, Isabella.
Oh.
Take two. Hello there.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Welcome back to the Penthouse. It's our last episode ever.
Imagine. You know, we just decided it's not going to work out.
And that's it. Thanks for listening. You'll never hear from us again.
You'll never know what happened in the Penthouse Diaries.
You'll never know how our story ends. It's officially been a year since we moved into the flat.
You mean the penthouse?
Yes, sorry, the penthouse.
We kind of thought it was about time to share our journey.
What it's really like living with your sister.
Navigating life in your 20s.
And all of our views in between.
Our views from the penthouse.
It is officially our last episode. It's our season finale.
I keep wanting to say penultimate, but penultimate was last week's episode.
Yeah.
It is our last time recording and filming in the penthouse.
Yeah, we just realised. We were just sitting down and we just realised that this is the last time we'll ever have to do this setup. We're on our 6th microphone. It's not been an easy ride, and going forward, we're hoping that our setup is going to be chef's kiss. But yeah, we were just setting up and we were saying this is our last time. We will set this up. This is our last time we will sit here on this sofa recording.
So sad.
So sad.
We can't be like coming at you straight from the penthouse anymore.
Yeah, we are going to have to change some of our wording ever so slightly because we're not actually technically going to be recording from the penthouse anymore, which is kind of... Obviously, we'll get into it, but when we first started our whole like moving process, wasn't I having like a complete panic attack about the podcast? I was like, it's completely fucked. Like, yeah. We've centered the name completely around living in this penthouse, and now we're moving. I was like, we're gonna have to change the name. It's not gonna work. Hannah was like, calm down, chill out. It's fine. But I think it was my like OCD, like perfectionist side. I was just like, it's not gonna make sense. Because it is our last episode, because it is the season finale, we have decided to pop a little bottle.
The bitch is back. The born is back.
The born is back. And we thought, you know what? Fuck the cans. Fuck the cans. We're going straight for the bottle. We're going straight for the sparkling born.
We are popping bottles
in this penthouse.
Popping bottles in the ice.
Like a blizzard. When we sip,
we do it right. Getting slizzard.
So we've got a sparkling born. I actually rate this bottle of sparkling rosé a lot. It's a very, very nice bottle of sparkling rosé.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very easy to drink, shall we say.
Oh, it goes down very easily. We've got through many a bottle of this. When Jess and I had like a night out here a couple months ago, like before Christmas, we didn't really realise how much we were drinking. We just like had them in the fridge. And I think we did like 3 before we went out. And because we were sat here, we just didn't really realise. And then got in the lift, went down, started walking to the station, and we were...
couldn't walk.
Paralytic. We're like, shit, we've not realised how much we've been drinking. Walking to the station, absolutely, yeah, hammered.
It's the bubbles, I think. It always gets to you. Right, am I popping her? Fuck me.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know how easy or hard it's going to be.
I think they're quite easy. So I think just give it a tiny little... I think a bit of snot came out my nose. I got so excited.
I think I just had a scene.
I popped a what are those things in your bum hole?
I don't.
Oh no!
In your bum hole?
You know those things that you get in your bum hole?
Piles.
Pop the pile.
Can you pop a pile?
No, like it popped out the hole. Like, because you strain, that's how you get piles, isn't it? When you strain, like if you strain to do a poo, you get a pile, you pop like a pile out. I think that's how you get
pop a pile out.
Is that not how you get them?
I'm not familiar.
I don't know.
All right, here we go. How the fuck are we going to do this?
You're just going to have to do it. Thanking you. Hannah used to work at a bar when she was... Isn't it so weird? Like, I've never worked at a bar, so I just don't have that same experience. But Hannah worked at a bar.
I'd say you're qualified. The amount of alcohol you've drank in your life, you're definitely qualified to open a bottle of champagne.
No, I'm talking about working in a bar.
I know, but I've worked in many a place.
No, I've worked in many a place too, but never a bar.
I mean, what I mean by that is a bar, a club.
Oh, yeah. Like, I've never worked in anywhere like that. Like, I've been a waitress and stuff, but I could never do the bar area because I remember...
VIP hostess. Oh. Sorry, that was weird.
I remember on my summer season in Sardinia, for some reason, it was like a really, really busy night, and I was waitressing, and I'd ordered some drinks for my table, and they weren't coming. So you had to walk round to the bar, and I walked around, and I was like, guys, I'm really sorry, but like, where are my drinks? And she was like, oh, like the bar lady or whoever was on the bar, I can't remember. She was like, oh, they're just on the side there on the tray. And it was like quite a high bar. And so like I had to pull the tray off of the bar. And I remember like 5 of our like really good guy friends were like obviously not working at the time. They were sat in the bar having a drink, and they were all watching me, and I pulled the tray off, and something just knocked, and every single drink went. They all spilled all over the floor, and I just stood there mortified, so embarrassed, like, what do I do? Just everyone burst out laughing because it's just so typical me, like, to spill a drink.
Yeah, you could never, thinking about it, you could never be anything to do with drinks because you just spill them. You're just, like, it's not even your fault most of the time. It's not, just how you were born.
Oh.
It was just, thrust upon you.
I think it's part of my personality. Cheers. Happy last episode. Well done, us.
Congratulations are in order, I would say, that we haven't killed each other.
Yeah. I actually think it's brought us closer together.
Yeah.
I was saying this yesterday when I was out with the girls, and we were talking about the podcast and stuff, and they were saying, like, how's it going? And I was like, it's actually just really nice to, like, have this time. Because, like, I know we live together, but you can live with someone and never see them, or you can live with someone and never chat or never like spend any time together. And we know like every week we have this like couple of hours where we're actually just together, sat down, chatting, catching up. And like, it's not actually that often that we do that.
No, because even like you said, we sit and eat our dinner with our earphones in.
Yeah, we watch telly, or it's not like we actually really sit and
I'm
chat.
salivating. I'm salivating. I was taking one sip, and when your mouth starts to get like, it just makes, I just want more.
I think there's a word for that.
No, it is really nice. It's a bit of downtime, like usually in the evening. Well, it's something that's not like sat watching TV. It's like going out and like having a coffee, and it's nice. Yeah, just to clarify with our move, we are continuing to live together.
Oh yeah, we haven't actually said that. Yeah, so
which maybe the podcast had a role to play in that.
Yeah, it probably gave us another reason to be like, oh, if we live together, it will just be easier, make life easier, it will be more, even though the podcast would have still worked, because we almost would have had, like, we really wouldn't have known what each other would have been up to, so it would have been like a proper catch up.
Yeah.
Equally, like, we started this to actually share our experience of living together as sisters, and like just
yeah, that's true.
Our dynamic.
Really fucked that one up, didn't we?
Okay, so we're going to do a quick outfit of the pod. OOTP. Gosh.
So I was talking to Devki about it, and she was like, I was trying to work out what OOTP meant, like outfit of the penthouse. And I was like,
sorry,
why didn't we think of that?
Why can I not talk today? Why did we not think of that? Oh, that's annoying.
The penthouse pod. Wow, it would have been fucked after we moved anyway.
Outfit of the penthouse.
Take it away, Early. No, actually, I'm going to go first. I never go first, I feel.
No, you don't.
Bit of a random one today. I am that bitch, and I got the Zara parachute pants. Is that what we're calling them? Parachute pants? Cargos, the like...
Yeah, that's quite literally what they're called.
Really?
Parachute pants, yeah.
Parachute pants then. They're really baggy. I got them in black.
When did you get them?
About at the weekend.
Because I just bought some too. Not the Zara ones.
I know. I saw your vid.
Where am I from? Pull and Bear.
Pull and Bear. Yeah, that's why I didn't get them from Pull and Bear.
Yeah.
So now we have a variety.
But
parachute pants.
Both exactly the same. Both
I
black.
know.
You should have got a different colour. Do they tie at the bottom as well?
Yeah. They're just really my vibe. Like, I love a baggy trouser and then like trainers and yeah, love. And then this is actually men's. So men's quarter zip green jumper from Weekday. I actually got it on ASOS though. So I originally bought it for my boyfriend and they sent it in the wrong colour. It was meant to be charcoal grey. And they sent the complete wrong colour and then we missed the return date. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to wear it. And I quite like it.
Yeah, it's quite vibey. Quite the spring.
Oh, I forgot to put my necklace on. Fuck it. And that's me done.
That's you done. Fab. Well, my whole outfit's from H&M. I'm wearing leather pants, shock, from H&M. I cannot wait. I love leather pants, don't get me wrong, but I am sick to death of them now. Like, I can't wait for it to just warm up slightly so I just can wear something other than leather pants. Because when it's cold and dark and miserable, the only thing that I can possibly think to put on my body is leather pants. They're just the only thing I gravitate towards.
Yeah, they are a bit like that.
So I just cannot wait for like the weather to just warm up. It's freezing.
I know, it's got really cold again.
So cold. Frank got back today. He's been away for like a month. It's felt like the longest month of my life. And he's like, oh my God, it went so quickly. It was the quickest time away I've ever had. And I'm sat here like, it's literally so long for me. So different when I'm home and he's away.
Yeah.
It's really hard to like compare. But yeah, what was the point of my story? Oh, he was coming back today. He flew back last night and he messaged me before being like, oh, is it cold at home or has it got like a bit warmer? And I was like, freezing. It's freezing. Like, it's colder than when you left. Anyway, my outfit, leather pants, H&M. I'm wearing a pink ribbed singlet from H&M. And I'm wearing like a kind of cream, white and black kind of speckled cardigan, which is also from H&M. It's kind of like, it's kind of itchy because it's kind of like that mohair vibe.
Mohair?
I think that's what it's called.
I'm not down with the lingo, with the fashion lingo.
Yeah, I think it's...
You said something the other day on I was watching your Pack With Me skiing, and you said something and I was like, not a clue what that means. You're like, you know...
Oh, Sherpa.
Yeah. What the fuck is Sherpa?
Sherpa is like teddy bear.
Borg.
Yeah, like Sherpa. It's like that.
I've never heard that word in my life. And I just remember when you first started doing Instagram and that, and you do your videos and you just really struggle to think of the words, like describing words.
I still can't.
But no, you've really come a long way. It made me think of that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, mohair. So it's kind of itchy, but I typically wear it with like a long sleeve, but I kind of wanted the armpits to be out because sometimes I get like, I'm cold, but I'm hot.
Cold and clammy.
I'm clammy.
Hashtag cold but clammy.
I don't know if we've had the convo before, but I get quite clammy in the pits. So
Amy has a sweating problem.
I do have a sweating problem. I'm not sweaty, like I don't drip, but I just am We've had this.
Just clammy pits.
I get clammy, but I don't smell either, and I'm not. It's not like sweat. Like, I'm not hot right now, but I'm sweating. Like, my pits are clammy, but I'm not hot. I'm cold.
I get like that if I cry. I don't know why. Something about crying, it makes me like.
I know what you mean.
Like, I think it's stress or like.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, my whole outfit's from H&M.
Love it. We love H&M.
We love H&M. Outfit of the pod. Woo.
This is the moving pod. Well, it's not, because we have so much in store for season 2. Circa moving.
Yeah, so basically what we thought is season 2 will all be centered around like basically moving in with your sister from kind of beginning to end. So like obviously we'll take you through the whole process of moving, and we're not actually moving alone. So not only am I going to be living with my sister,
we are moving in with our boyfriend.
We are moving in with our boyfriend. Yeah.
So my boyfriend Joe is also getting the new place with us.
Yeah, so it's going to be the 3 of us.
But Amy and Joe always they always joke about their special bond and their special relationship, because he did live with us for a few weeks when he first moved to London. And because they both worked from home and I'd go off to work, and now they joke that they had an affair, and they...
Yeah, we have a great little running joke, but Hannah doesn't know what we got up to when she was away.
But it's nice that you guys get along so well and you feel comfortable and all that. But it's not like we're going to be on top of each other. There is ample space.
Oh, Joe doesn't bother me. Living with Joe doesn't bother me. It's living with you that's the issue. No, I think, yeah, it's definitely going to be
it's going to change up the dynamic.
It's definitely going to change the dynamic, but we're going to take you along, don't worry. You're going to be with us beginning to end. So season 2 is going to sort of be moving from the penthouse, and obviously Penthouse Diaries. We've got a lot to go into. When we were younger, we moved a lot. We've moved a lot in our life. We're not one of those families that have lived in the same family home for their entire life. We have lived in so many different houses. We've had so many different segments of life. So Penthouse Diaries in season 2 is going to be kicking off.
So why are we moving out of here?
Why are we moving out of here? Okay, so we love it here, and we have loved it here for the time that we've been here. But
to clarify, we rent. And if you live in the UK, then you know that
it's just not been like... It's lovely. We love living here, but they kind of sold us a bit of a dream.
We realise that we are very privileged, and it is a very nice place to live. And we're not by any means saying, it's a piece of shit or whatever. We're very fortunate to live in the place that we live. But, it's not cheap. Not that any place in London is, but it's not cheap. And when we first moved in, we were basically sold a dream of all this stuff, because we live in a complex of apartment blocks, and it was brand new build. We were the first people to move in. We were one of the first people, I'd say, to move in.
We were one of the first people even in the block, but we were the first people that obviously lived in this flat, which is quite nice because everything was new. The dishwasher had never been used, the washing machine had never been used. Literally, the walls were perfect. Nothing. It was completely unlived in.
Yeah,
which is the best kind
stunning.
Of. Yeah.
I mean, when we came to see it, I completely fell in love with it. We've obviously got a lovely view, the balcony, everything. We're at the top.
You were the one that was I really want it. I wasn't as bothered, I don't think.
You always didn't want it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the issues that we've faced, you couldn't have foreseen.
No.
Maybe we were a bit silly because, I don't know, new builds tend to have problems.
Yeah. And it was very, very new, as in it was still under warranty for 6 months with the builders who built it, because we literally moved in and the builders were still here essentially, in the building type thing. There's gonna be issues.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were just so excited about moving to London. Well, I was moving to London.
Basically, we're kind of beating around the bush. A lot of stuff's just happened. It's been a bit of a shambles. As we said, they kind of sold us a dream. They basically, we moved in 18 months ago, and they said that within 3 months there would be a gym, there would be cafes, restaurants, bars, it would be happening, and it would be the place to be type thing. And 18 months later, there's absolutely not one thing in sight, which for me, when I was moving into this sort of centre of London, I mean, I lived borderline London previously before this flat, and one of my requirements was that I wanted to be in the hustle and bustle of London, and be able to walk out my door and go to a cafe, or feel go for a drink in the evening.
We're still not in the hustle and bustle though, in our new place.
I know.
I thought you really wanted to live in that location.
What?
Yeah, because it's near Frank and...
No, that's not where I wanted to live.
So why the fuck have we just got this house?
Because we liked the house.
Yeah, well, it's the same with this. We spent a lot of time looking for something, and there was just nothing that had, in terms of the actual flat, nothing apart from this had everything. It was lovely and modern, a new build. It had the 2 bathrooms, really good sized bedrooms, storage,
outside space,
which
we
wanted.
I mean, we had a lot of boxes that needed to be ticked.
And finding that, and also in a hip hip hop happening place
in our budget.
Yeah.
As well. I mean, when you rent in London, especially in the last few years, even like I've got friends as well that are doing it right now. You set a budget and it's like every week the budget goes up by £50, £50, £100, another £100 a month, and it's like actually your budget is like null and void.
Yeah, we started so low.
When we started looking 18 months, like 2 years ago, let's say 18 months ago, we started way lower.
So low.
And then we ended up getting this, which was like way above our budget. And then
I've sort of done the same thing now
with the next one. But it's just like, it's your it's the most important part of your life, really. Like where you live, where you are. Like take out the fact that like I work from home and stuff, but it's like where you spend like the majority of your time. It's your, you know, it's your home, it's your house. Like
I'm a real home person. And I like my environment inside the house to be what I want and lovely. And that, for me, is more important than the outside, the surrounding.
Anyway, I wanted to be in the hustle and bustle. And like, when you picture London, you picture like cafes, bars, restaurants. Like you picture, I don't know, like I can't explain it.
You're not going to live on Oxford Street and you're not going to live in the city where people work.
I know, but so,
like a lot of London is residential and you don't realise.
No, I know, but you're not really getting what I'm saying here. We didn't get that essentially because they sold us the dream and they told us we were kind of going to have it. So we moved in thinking this is great, and 18 months later, nothing's happened. So that was kind of the first thing. And then as we say, it's a brand new build. So we have had teething problems. We've had a lot of just like things go wrong in the flat. We've had a lot of no water, a lot of no hot water. Our heating didn't work. Our first winter we lived here, and then our heating didn't work again our second winter.
And then in summer, when we had that massive heat wave, my bedroom window, I think it was where the sun always used to hit my window, it's like melted the mechanism of the window or something, because it was probably badly, cheaply done, and the window broke and I could not open it for 7 weeks over that heat wave we had in summer. I couldn't get any air into my room and they did nothing about it. The teething problems aren't an issue with a new build. It was the management
the estate agents management.
No one had any responsibility. There were like 3 different parties involved, like the estate agent, the landlord, and the building
like the owner, maintenance,
like the building, like the group. And you never knew who you were going to. There was one time, I was in the shower, mid-shower, and I was like, doing my thing, washing. I thought, I'll exfoliate. And I'd never used this stuff before, but I just had it, and I was like, I'm going to use my coffee scrub.
It was the Frank body, was it? Coffee scrub. The Frank, we got it for Christmas in our stocking.
Yeah, the coffee scrub exfoliator. So I've covered myself head to toe in coffee granules, scrubbing. I mean, the shower is covered. It's just like brown, just like black, like coffee. You can imagine just showering in coffee, basically. And then all of a sudden, it's Antarctica.
Ice bucket challenge.
And it's like dribbling out. And I'm stood there covered in coffee granules. And I was like, honestly, wanted to scream. I was so angry. Amy wasn't home. And this was like, the water had previously had an issue.
We'd had like
a couple days ago.
Yeah, we'd had like quite a few problems before, like quite a few times, and it literally happened like a few days prior, and they were like, right, we've got it sorted, we promise, like this is it, this is done, it's not going to happen again. And then I was out, I wasn't here, and it obviously happened again to Hannah while she was mid-shower.
But at the end of that previous time, like a couple days ago, they were like, okay, so here are all the numbers that you are meant to call. I stepped out of the shower, coffee everywhere. I've got like a white towel, white bath mat to pick up my phone, to scroll through my emails. I'm there like shivering, get to my phone, scroll through my emails to try and get this number that I remember them putting on the email. And it like calls through to the estate agent, and I'm there and I'm so angry. And then what happens is they pick up and you press like 2 for maintenance or something, because it was out of hours, and it redirects it automatically redirects to their out of hours company, whatever it was meant to be. And these people pick up and they're like, hi. And I'm like, hi, I live at, said the address. The water's completely gone again. I have no hot water. You know, can you send someone around immediately? And they were like, we've never heard of that address before. They were like, nope, we don't work with that building company. We don't work with that group. Never. I've literally never heard of them before. You can imagine at this point, I was like, what? And they were like, we can send someone out, but it's going to, you know,
you have to pay for it.
You have to pay for it because out of hours is like really expensive. And I was like, fuck's sake, blah, blah, blah. Obviously not getting angry at him, but then the line cut off. I must have had bad signal or something. And I was like, well, he's not ringing me back. So I literally had to get back into the shower and try and rinse myself off in this dribble of ice water. And I was so angry. I sent this awful email, no greeting, no sign off. The water's gone again, blah, blah, blah. Like, they didn't even fucking reply.
Just to say, like, I think it sounds quite dramatic if you're just thinking like, oh, this is like one time, like get over it. But like it was to the point where it was happening like every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And it was like every month there'd be a day where like we'd get up, or I'd get up in the morning, or Hannah would get up in the morning, 5, 6 a.m, get into the shower to go to work, and it would be stone cold, and we'd be like, for fuck's sake. Or we'd wake up, go into the bathroom, turn our taps on, and there'd be no water at all, and we'd be like, we've got to work, like how do we shower? So
showering, I mean, whatever, but you can't brush your teeth. Well, you probably can, but you can't flush the toilet.
You can't
have a glass of water. We had one time, we were so,
I think it's because we knew we couldn't have a drink,
couldn't have a glass of water, and we were like,
it was
panicking.
after
we were like,
it was after we recorded a podcast once, and we were in the middle of cooking dinner, and we were trying to boil our vegetables, and I got all our vegetables, and I was chopped up our vegetables, and I went to put the water in the pan, and nothing came out the tap. And I was like, Hannah, nothing's coming out the tap. The water had gone, and we hadn't realised that neither of us had had like a glass of water all day. And then suddenly, when we realised we had no water and we couldn't have a drink, we were both like, oh God, I'm so thirsty.
I can't breathe. My throat's closing.
So dramatic. But essentially, stuff like that just happens all the time. And as we say, the management and the estate agents have just not been great. And it's just quite tiring after a while. And it's just like, you know, we pay a lot of money to live here. And it's like,
really, it's just silly. And I think it's the same as a lot of estate agents, especially in London, because they're always going to get work. Like, they don't need, if we say, oh, fuck you, I'm moving out, they're like, okay, they'll get someone else in.
At one point we were like, we're actually going to write to the landlord because it's just poorly managed, and he should know that the estate agent that he's working with.
Yeah, and you're paying for someone to manage your property for you.
Yeah. That's the point of having an estate agent. So anyway, it had been a bit of a shambles. And so we had sort of spoken about, because we knew our 18 months was coming up. We knew our contract was going to come to an end. So we'd sort of spoken about it. And we'd said, you know, do we want to have to go through that all again? Like, as we say, nothing's come of what they told us was going to come around the area. Do we, you know, say thanks so much, it's been lovely, see you later, and move on? And then we got a phone call, a letter or something, and they were like, oh, you know, your contract's coming to an end, would you like to renew? Just to let you know, we're putting your...
It was just a phone call.
Yeah, he just phoned me and was like, oh yeah, so just to let you know, like the flat's now gonna cost this much, like the rent's gonna be this much. And it was like so much more a month. And I laughed, and after I went, oh God, I'm so sorry for laughing, but you're putting our rent up. I said, it's a shambles. How can you possibly be asking us for more money? Hannah and I just spoke about it, and we just decided that it just wasn't worth paying the extra. We would rather, even if we paid that much somewhere else, we'd rather be somewhere else paying that much than pay that much here, because as much as we do love it, it's quite tedious, quite tiring.
It would just be so stressful. It wasn't just that though. It was like, we have a room where we have all the electrics and stuff, and intermittently it would just, all the pipes would leak with water, and there would be water like gushing onto the floor over all the electrics. And one time, like, I came home and I panicked. I was like, is this going to blow up? What's going to happen? I like ran over to the estate agents, and I was like, there's water pouring into my electrics. And they just weren't bothered. And they were like, okay, we'll just turn your water off.
Yeah, that's literally what they said. They went, all right, we'll just turn the water off.
I was like, what do you mean turn the water off? Then I have no water. What are you going to do about it? We're not fussed about the issues happening. It's just they don't resolve it.
Yeah.
And there's no like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, we'll get this fixed.
They literally do not care. The other day, literally last week, I was in the bathroom and I was filming something for work. I was filming something that I needed to film. And I was in my bathroom with like my light on and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Suddenly, the light just goes off. Our bathrooms don't have windows, so there's obviously no daylight, natural light. It's just our light. And my light goes off and I'm stood quite literally in the pitch black. And I was like, oh, walked out, I thought, what happened there? Flicked my switch, nothing's happening. I thought, that's weird. Thought, has the bulb gone? Then I walked out, and do you know when you just know something's happened? And then I walked around to the oven was off, tried another light, and basically all our electric had gone. All of our electric had turned off, and I was like, shit, have I done something? Have I blown a fuse? So I went to our fuse box. I was like looking at all the switches, and like none of them were down. They were all fine. And I was like, no, the electric has just gone. So I rang down to the concierge and I was like, hey, like our electric's gone. Like, just wondering, is it just our flat or is it like the whole block? He was so blasé, and it's not the concierge guy because he just isn't anything to do with it. But he was like, oh yeah, they're just doing some works in the building, so they've just turned them off. And I was like, all right. I was like, anyone going to tell me? No. Then like 4 days later, we got an email from our estate agent being like, hey guys, like just have heard like your electric went, like so sorry, like sorry for the inconvenience. And that's literally it. And it's like, you can't just turn people's electric off.
No.
Like,
especially when they like work from home.
Yeah. I was actually in the middle of doing something. You could have a baby. You could like all the electric, literally every single thing.
Just no prior warning, really. Like, that's
and no
what
warning.
It is.
It's like, you have to tell people that, surely. It was just funny, and it was just so ironic that it happened last week. And I was just like, and I text Mum and Hannah straight away, like, oh my God, this has just happened. And they had the audacity to tell us they were going to put our rent up and they were charging us more money. I just thought it's actually laughable.
And also, they were pestering us like way before our notice was due. They were just calling us up and going like, oh, so are you going to renew or not? And we're like in the middle of something.
Yeah.
And we were like, what?
It was so unprofessional. It wasn't in writing. It wasn't, they were just like, this was like 4 or 5 months in advance. Like, we need to know now. And I was like, no, you don't. Our notice is 2 months. Like, our contract isn't up for ages. Like, I know how this works. And they were just like, no, you need to tell us now. Like, he was literally on the phone to me like, you need to tell us now. I've spoke to my manager.
He was like, okay, so I'm giving notice for you.
Yeah.
And we were like, no.
I was like, no, I haven't given notice. And because we hadn't made a decision yet of what we were going to do.
And it kind of hurried us out the door. It kind of pushed us, and we were like, well, you know what, maybe we will just go then, because you're kind of, they gave us provisional like notice.
Yeah.
Basically.
Because we didn't make a decision 5 months in advance, they gave us provisional notice.
So we were like,
so
fine.
Yeah, we just
when it got to the 2 months, we just sent an email, said, yeah, confirm. I do sometimes, I come into the flat and I'm like, oh, I'm really going to miss it. Like, are we making the wrong decision? And then something like that will happen. I'll be like, fuck the lot of you. Like, I can't wait to get out of here, kind of thing.
I got lipstick eye tea.
Really?
Yeah. I can feel it.
Okay.
As negative as all of that sounds, that we have love living here, and we are really excited for the move, because change isn't always a bad thing. And, you know, moving is stressful at the time, but also exciting. It's a fresh space, and, you know.
I like moving. I get bored very easily of things, and I feel like I thrive off change in my life. And I think that's because of how we were brought up. It's just like a normal thing. Whereas for some people, the thought of a move is like so stressful, so daunting.
Well, yeah, as I was saying at the beginning, you know, there are people that have lived in the same house their entire life, and that's not us. We haven't done that. We've moved constantly. So for us, moving, it just isn't really, it's just like part and parcel of life. Like for us, we just feel like so
just
normal.
Second nature,
yeah,
really.
Second nature. So like, oh, a year, 18 months, 2 years goes by, and it's like, oh, we're moving again.
I always say I'm a professional mover. I say I'm a traveller.
Yeah, it is giving kind of traveller.
So originally, when it all came down to it and we were like, okay, well, we're not gonna live in the penthouse anymore. my boyfriend lives just like across the road, not far at all. We see each other majority of the time, and it just started to feel a bit silly. Like, we are very secure in our relationship, and we were like, realistically, it just makes sense to move in together. We both wanted to move in together. We kind of already did for a little bit when he lived with us. That was kind of the plan. So me and my boyfriend were going to find a place, and me and Amy were going to part ways.
Mm-hmm.
We started looking at places, and we were like, okay, we're going to save some money because we're only going to go down to a 1-bed. We ended up having, my boyfriend ended up having higher standards than me in terms of the location we were looking in. But we definitely wanted to be a bit more central than we are now. Anyway, we looked at a lot of places, to be fair. We were looking like almost every day at places, but nothing was screaming at us. There was this one flat that was amazing. It was like perfect in terms of everything apart from the bedroom.
What was wrong with it?
The bedroom was just a shoebox. And
small.
like the way they had it, they had the bed pushed up to the wardrobes, and that just wouldn't work with me. Like, I would need the wardrobes.
Oh, how did they get into their wardrobe?
They obviously just don't use them. So it was literally like the bed pushed up to the wardrobes, and then like one bedside table, and that was it. There's no other room in the room. Like, it was very small. And I just thought, this is never going to work with all my stuff, like my clothes and Joe's clothes.
Yeah, if there's two of you sharing a room.
Yeah, it would have been like, it just wouldn't have been ideal. But the rest of it was so stunning, so nice. It was such a great location.
You never showed me it.
Had so much character. It was in Little Venice. Big, like double height ceilings again, with big shutters, like shutter doors in the living room, like out to the balcony with like the black railing. It was in one of those lovely, like, listed buildings, like the white pillars, and it was so nice. And it had a breakfast bar, and it had loads of character.
Why didn't you send it to me? I would have had it.
I think Mum did.
Don't remember that one.
I mean, Amy, not 2 of your t-shirts wouldn't have fit in there. Like, there is no way.
What, so there wasn't any other storage, like, even in the living room?
There was, but there's just no way any of your stuff would have fit in there. Trust me. It would have been perfect for one person, but not for someone who does your job. Not for someone who does your job. Plus, I don't know where you would have filmed. There would have been nowhere for you to film. Like, it was a very cozy little flat. Like, Joe wanted it. He was set. And I was just like, it's the bedroom. So yeah, we didn't end up offering. And then actually a few days later, we'd been thinking about it, and we'd seen other places, and we thought, should we just check if it's still available? Because we thought, right, if it's still available, it's meant to be ours. And someone had the offer had been accepted like a couple of hours before he called. So we were like, yeah, it's not meant to be.
I was then obviously left to go alone, and I was quite happy with looking at places to live by myself. I am 28 years old, and I have never lived by myself. I've never lived alone in a house, alone. Hannah's lived by herself. I've never lived by myself. And I thought, if there is a time in my life or a point in my life where I'm going to live by myself, it's probably this year, because, hopefully next year, me and my boyfriend will hopefully move in together if he wants me by then. He doesn't want me currently, but maybe in a year's time he might want me. So I thought, I've probably got a year, and living by myself would be really nice. I think I would really actually thrive living by myself. My work, I feel like, is really tailored to living by yourself, and like, I was really excited about it. But obviously living in London is not cheap, so it does come with quite a big price tag. And then one of my best friends, her living situation had basically changed from what she was doing, and we'd spoken about it kind of jokingly, but kind of not, and been like, oh, we could live together, let's live together. And then it sort of came down to crunch time, and I was kind of like to her, okay, I'm actually moving now. I kind of do have to move. So would you like to live with me? And she was like, yep. And I was like, great, I want to live with you. So then we were kind of like starting to look. So it kind of, gave me that excitement, because I guess moving by yourself and looking for somewhere by yourself, like, yes, it's exciting, but it's also like you don't really have anyone to bounce off of. You don't really have anyone to sort of like send stuff to and be like, oh, would you like this? And like, of course I have like my mum and you and my boyfriend and stuff, but like they wouldn't actually be living there. So it's like, it kind of just feels like a bit of a different process when you're moving by yourself. So having someone else to send stuff to and stuff was nice, but we basically went through everything and it just kind of, our timings sadly just didn't really align. I kind of needed to be able to stay in this flat for an extra like month. She kind of needed an extra month to get out of her place that she was in. So it kind of just didn't work. So she literally told me on the Sunday night, actually it's not going to work, I'm going to stay where I am. And I was like, fine, absolutely. Like, there was never any pressure from the beginning, and I was like, I just kind of needed to know. That's great. So that Sunday night I found out, okay, I'm now going forward by myself. A few weeks prior to that, or like a month prior, I was skiing, you had sent me a property.
I don't know how I came across it. I think it was just like, honestly, maybe an advert. And it was in one of the locations that we were looking at. It was a 3-bedroom. Obviously, it was completely way over mine and Joe's budget. But I did a few like calculations and I thought, okay, well, if you were to add one more person with a similar budget, and I kind of just sent it to Amy, and I was like, oh, do you like this? And she didn't reply. Obviously, she was skiing. Then we'd gone to have like conversations after that text.
Basically, at the beginning, Hannah had kind of put the feelers out to me and said, like, what would be your view on us carrying on living together, but obviously with Joe, the 3 of us. And I kind of shut you down immediately and was like, no, like that would not work for me. Like, I guess I just thought living with a couple, especially it being like your sister and her boyfriend, and I just thought, I think in my head I thought it would feel like it was your house and I was living in your spare room rather than it being like my house, and I would feel a bit awkward like if you guys were in the kitchen like coming in, and like it would just be a bit like, oh, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I would feel like I was in your guys' space as a couple, and I just, because I'd never done that before, and I know people do it all the time, people live with couples all the time, but I don't know, for me I was just a bit like, oh, I'm not sure it would work. So I kind of shut it down, and I was like, no.
We'd kind of written off the idea. It was me. It would have been perfect for me because I didn't want to stop living with you, but I wanted to live with Joe. So for me, it was like, oh, why don't we all just live together?
Yeah.
Joe had reservations.
Which I didn't know. You told me at the beginning. I thought it was Joe that...
No. So we actually discussed it and said, well, maybe we look for places, and then if we find something that is nice and we want but we need a third person, we'll bring it to you. He's obviously going to feel weird about it.
Yeah, but at the beginning, I'm so sure you said to me it was Joe's idea, because Joe said, oh, what are you and Jess doing? Like,
that was way further in.
I know, but this is what I was going
off of. It was a joke. It was a joke, yeah, but it was...
I know, but I think the way I thought... Like, I didn't realise Joe, like, it was your idea and Joe was the one being like, oh, no. I thought Joe had put it to you. And that's why you had come to me and said, like,
why would you think that Joe really wants to live with you?
No, because as what you're saying, like, it makes it cheaper. You get more for your money, more bang for your buck. You can afford a bigger space if there's more of you. It's like a house share.
Yeah, but Joe wasn't worried about space.
So basically, Joe doesn't want to live with me, and now he's stuck living with me.
He didn't care about the space or the storage or anything like that. He doesn't have anything. He's like, whatever. It wasn't a plan. I just sent that to you, and Joe didn't know I'd sent that to you. I just sent it to you, and I was like, do you like this? And then she didn't reply for a bit, and then one day you randomly replied to it and said, yeah, it's nice. It was just kind of on a whim. Like, Amy went to see it and came back and said it's not quite right. It wouldn't be quite right for the 3 of us.
If it was going to be the 3 of us living together, I think in my head I had like certain things that it would have to have, and it would have to be in order for it to work. I think it was a really nice, I say flat, but it was on 2 levels, but it was a flat, I guess. But it was just so cramped. Like, we would have all been on top of each other. Like, the living room and the kitchen were just like very, very small and together. It was open plan, and the place we're moving into is open plan as well, but it's much bigger space. And I just thought that we're gonna feel on top of each other here, the 3 of us. And to be fair, like, it was very, very reasonably priced. Like, had we have gone for that, we'd have all been way below budget, because it was like, it was very reasonably priced for almost what it was. But when I went to look at it, it's quite funny because this is what it's like renting. They have pictures from like 10 years ago when it was first like done. And then I went in and it was awful. The people that lived in it before left it in such a state. It was filthy. It stank of smoke. It was like nothing like the pictures, and I was like shocked when I walked in. I mean, I took mum with me and she walked in because we hadn't shown her the sort of the advert before, and she walked in and was like, oh, and I was like, I promise it looked nicer in the advert.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I'm sure I did.
You didn't say it smelled like smoke or anything.
Yeah, it stank of smoke. And the estate agent, it must be a hard job sometimes being an estate agent trying to like sell these places, because it was like awful.
But I think after that situation, we'd kind of forgotten about the idea of maybe us three living together.
That was pre-Jess telling me, oh, actually, I don't think it's going to work. So in my head, I was still like, oh, that's fine. Like, I looked at that anyway for us. And then I actually, in my head, was like, oh, if it's nice, but not good for the three of us, Jess and I could have had it. Like, because it would work for two people, sort of us as two, like, best friends, it would have worked. But I think for us living together as sisters with your boyfriend, it wouldn't. But it just didn't work for any of us. It just wasn't, it wasn't right. So I still had my option with Jess, and Hannah and Joe were still doing their thing. I don't really know what happened, but I think I was starting to panic a little bit about the fact that I suddenly
used us.
No, I think I just suddenly was like, I actually have nowhere to live. I'm now back to having to look by myself. Suddenly I'm quite anxious about the whole situation again, and like whatever. So I think I was spending a lot of time that next Monday just online looking, and I would look at like 1 beds and then 2 beds, and then, you know, you just sort of up your budget, and then you're just like looking what's out there. And then I think one of my criterias for living with Hannah and Joe was that I really wanted it to be a 3-bed, because although we'd only need 2 beds, it would just mean that the property would be bigger. It would give us more space. I could either have a filming room, or we could have an office room, or we could have a podcast studio room, or, you know, it would just give us more space. So that was sort of my criteria. Like, I think it would only work if it was 3 beds. So I was sort of upping the beds and upping the budget every now and then just to see what was out there. And lo and behold, came across a very, very stunning property.
It was like, you'd think it was completely fake. It looked so nice. It was above budget. I think Amy sent it to us and we were like, okay, this is really nice, but pinch of salt, like, is it going to look like that kind of thing?
Yeah.
We did know that all the furniture, like nowadays they digitally add all this lovely furniture and they make it look really nice. In London, you have to move quickly. Like, you see it, you have to go and see it that day. Otherwise, it's going to be an offer on the table, like, by the evening.
Yeah. It's essentially not far from here where we live now, which is fine. But I think when we all decided that we were moving, we'd all decided we wanted to move further in. On Friday, we were having this conversation, and a lot of the girls I was out with, they all live sort of like Battersea way, like Clapham, Battersea way. And when they say town, or like the centre of London, they think of like Clapham. And I was like, what? And I was like, no, like, I think of like Soho. Like, I think of like Oxford Street, like Oxford Circus.
Right where the Central Line goes through central London.
Yeah, that's what we mean when we say like we wanted to come like slightly further into like the centre.
It wasn't the desirable place, but it ticked all the boxes.
Yeah, it's right near where my boyfriend has just bought a house, which is great because I can still walk over to his, he can walk over to mine, which is great because we can do that from where we live now too. For Hannah and Joe both getting to work, it really works for them because they both drive to work anyway, so they don't have to get a train, even though it's on a great train line.
We work outside of London. One of us has got to go north and one of us has got to go west, and it's like there's only that small area that is not going to be an absolute ball ache to drive.
I kind of didn't really have an area in mind, but I knew I wanted to either stay in like West London or go slightly southwest, mainly just because all of my friends are southwest. Parking
was obviously a big thing as well. And I know we haven't got our lovely view from the penthouse and our lovely high balcony, but we have got a hell of a garden.
Yeah, it's a proper summer party pad. Like, we have got such lovely like sliding glass doors that open out to like the most stunning garden that looks like you're in like the south of France.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a palm tree. They've like just planted a palm tree.
There's a palm tree in there, the garden.
Like, yeah, so we're thinking summer parties, barbecues.
It is sadly not a penthouse, which is why we were saying at the beginning that we kind of fucked up when we called this From The Penthouse. But for season 2, it's going to work, and, you know,
penthouse will always be with us in our hearts. We're the girls from the penthouse.
This is where the pod grew and started, and that's fine. So we'll find a way to make it work. So we move in a week and a half, literally next Friday.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So when you're hearing this, we will be
on Friday,
packed up.
When this comes out on the Tuesday, we'll be moving 3 days later on the Friday. So we'll be doing lots of sneak peeks behind the scenes on the Instagram and stuff like that. So make sure you come and follow us over there.
You know that the Northern Lights could be seen from the UK, Scotland, and some places in like Wales, and then even somewhere in England. How mad is that?
What the hell? That's weird.
I was just looking at the sky. I went to Wales this weekend, and as we were driving out of London, Joe was like, "Are they stars or are they planes? Because they're huge, they can't be stars." And we were both staring at them like, they're not flashing, they're not moving, they've got to be stars. And Joe was like, "Wow." Then I looked to my left and I saw all these stars and I was like, "Wow." And Joe was like, "Wow." You just forget that you don't see stars in London.
I know, it's the weirdest thing.
And it's just so nice and pretty, and you're like, oh my gosh. We were talking about all like the constellations and stuff. But yeah, it is mad that you can't see stars in London.
I think we don't think about it because when we look out of here, it's so bright and everything's lit up because it's like the city. So
well, Joe was saying we have our own version of stars.
Yeah, you think that's almost stars. Like you kind of forget that you're not looking up to stars because you're looking out to like the city lit up.
London's version of stars, which are all the lights, all the building lights and everything.
How was Wales? What did you even do?
Well, I mean, so I literally got to Bath and then I was getting dropped at Bath station to go to Wales. And by like Joe's friend, and all the boys were in the car. They were like, "Oh, so you're going to Cardiff?" I was like, "Yeah." They were like, "Oh, so you're going to watch the rugby?" And I was like, "What do you mean?"
Oh my God, there was a massive rugby game
England versus Wales.
Yeah.
In Cardiff. And I was going to Cardiff. No clue that this was on. It's going to be absolutely rammed.
Yeah.
We hadn't booked anything.
Oh no.
We were like, fuck. Joe's mum was like, "Keep your head down, Hannah." Because obviously I'm English. And England won anyway. We did go into Cardiff briefly and we just like went for food. And then did some shopping, and then we like aborted mission before the rugby finished, so not to get stuck. We went back to Newport and just went to Caitlin's auntie's pub. She owns a pub.
Cute.
And we just like sat there, had dinner. It was so nice. And then we went into Bristol on Sunday, went to Clifton, went to the suspension bridge and had brunch. Yeah, it was so nice, so lovely. I don't often go back there, but obviously like my kind of part of the world is Bath. I lived in Bath for a long time, and one of my best friends is from Wales, so I went to see her. And I wasn't even hungover in the morning. I think it's something about when I'm with my friends, because in Milan as well, we drank so much and I was not hungover in the slightest.
No, I've told you, it's a mindset. When you know that you're coming back to your own bed, you can lay in bed all day Sunday, you can slob out, do nothing, you've got no plans, you feel more hungover. If in your head you go out on like a Saturday night and you know you have to be up the next morning, you know you've got something going on, you can still drink the same amount as you will wake up and you'll just crack on with it and get up and do it. It's just all a mindset. I swear by that. Get in the shower.
Morning, I'm making waffles. We made waffles. She has a waffle maker.
Yum. I'm so hungry. I'm so excited for my dinner. I'm going out. My boyfriend's been away for a month and he just got back literally today. So we're going for dinner. We're going to Scott's in Richmond.
Never been. I really want to go.
It's a fish restaurant.
And I eat some fish.
Yeah, they do other things, but it's known for being a fish restaurant. They just opened, so they've got like their famous one, which is like the original one in Mayfair. And just for Christmas, they opened up their new one in Richmond. And we've been to both. And we actually think the Richmond one's nicer, which is unusual because normally like the original Ivy is like the nicest Ivy.
Which is the original Ivy?
The original Ivy is the one in... Hold on. I literally walked past it the other day with Frank.
The original ever Ivy?
Yeah.
Do you not have the Ivy in other countries?
I don't know if the Ivy's in other countries. No, but there's always an original. Like there's always... So it started off as like one restaurant and then it branches out as a chain and they create loads more.
But what I'm saying is, did it originate in England?
Yeah, the original one's in London.
Oh, didn't know
that. The original Ivy is in Covent Garden, I want to say.
How do you feel about the Ivy?
I don't rate the Ivy that much anymore. I rate the Ivy Asia.
Yeah, I've never been to the Ivy Asia. I would love to go.
But yeah, no, how do I feel about the Ivy? Sometimes it's quite hit and miss. I think it's very overpriced. for what it is. I think it's nice. You can go there and have a nice meal, but it is very overpriced.
I couldn't even tell you anything that they serve on the menu.
They do that duck salad with like, which is really nice. But like, if you're coming to London, like there's just so many nice places that you could go to.
Well, yeah, and the Ivy's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't, yeah. Benihana's, that is where I would go. Although I know they have it in other places. That is one restaurant that I will never forget. Like, it was so, I don't know if it was just because I was really drunk, but that food was so good.
Yeah.
And just the whole experience.
Yeah, that was
I'd
really
love
good
to do that again. I had teriyaki steak.
Yeah, for our mum's 60th birthday, we went to Benihana's, which is like that. I think it's like a Japanese restaurant.
You have your own chef and they cook in front of you. And
Yeah.
it's like he does all the, like, flips everything up and like, it's like 8 courses.
It was just such a good experience. And I think it's just because, I mean, the thing is we have fun like wherever we go when it's all of us, when it's like us and our like family. We have fun wherever we go. But like, I think it was just such a good, everyone was just in such good spirits. And we just had like such a good night. Mum was doing shots. It was really fun. It was a really good night. Actually, yesterday I went to really random. Went to see my work girls, as I call them, my Instagram girls.
Is that what you call them?
Well, it's just
Your
like
work friends?
No, but I have like my school girls. Like when I'm trying to describe like who I'm going to meet, it's like Frank will be like, "Oh, who you seeing?" And I'm like, "The girls," and he's like, "Yeah, but which girls? Like which group of girls?" So I've got like school girls, Instagram girls, season girls, London girls. I've got like all my different groups. And it was Misha's birthday basically on Friday. So on Monday we went and did pottery painting and we went for lunch before.
So weird that you did that, because at the weekend Caitlin was like, I'd love to go and do one of those where you, like one of those pottery classes where you drink wine.
Oh, you drunk one, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we can do that, no problem. And then you sent me that thing and I was like,
we didn't go to a drunk one. We just went to a normal one and we had peppermint tea. But it's actually so good. Like it's so, I think just good for the mind and soul. Like so therapeutic. Well, I could have sat there all day painting and painting and painting and painting.
did you make a plate as well?
No, you don't. That's like pottery making. We were just pottery painting.
I'd like to pottery make. I remember when I made that totem pole in school, in primary school. Do you remember that? It had like a cat.
Yeah, I do remember.
It was like all your favourite things.
I would highly recommend. But before we went for lunch and we went to the Address, which is on Battersea Rise. They have quite a few of them in London. Like, there's one in Chiswick and it's really, really nice. But we went to the one in Battersea Rise and honestly, it's 10 out of 10. Like the food is incredible. I had a halloumi burger with like...
Halloumi burger, just like halloumi in a bun?
Yeah. Like grilled halloumi in like a brioche bun with like chipotle mayo. Oh, it was so good. It was honestly so good. The chips are incredible. Misha got like their full English for like brunch and it was insane. Like looks so good and it's so beautiful inside. Like it's a really, really lovely like interior. Same with the one in Chiswick. And yeah, I would just highly recommend if you're like in Clapham.
Okay. Oh God,
this is it.
Thanks for joining us this season. We really hope you enjoyed it. We enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
Please let us know any feedback.
This is it. This is our season finale, episode 20, season 1. We don't know if we'll always continue to do seasons, but this just felt like a really nice break point. Episode 20, we move next week. Coming into season 2 will just be really nice in the new house. So this just felt like a very clean cut.
You know, there are no rules in this house.
We're not like regular sisters, but I feel a bit sad.
Yeah, so do I. Feel a bit emotion.
Feel a bit emotion.
But do continue to chat to us on our socials, Instagram, TikTok, at From The Penthouse.
Come and follow us over on YouTube. It's just From The Penthouse, type it in. You'll find us. We do all the full episodes if you want to see us in person rather than listening. We will try and post a few behind the scenes and sneak peeks of the new house and stuff next week when we move in and for, you know, the few weeks that we're not on here. But it's only a few weeks and then we'll be back.
Yeah.
I'm going to be drunk by the time I get to Frank.
Well, at least you're actually doing something, going out for dinner. I've had one more than you have, and I'm literally just going to go and put some stuff in boxes now. That's a wrap. That's literally a wrap.
That is literally a wrap. Congratulations. Cheers. And I guess all that's left to say is we will not see you next Tuesday.
We will see you next season.